Excellency, this the people of Pakistan will remember forever. I'm also very grateful to so many heads of states and governments, as well as ministers and other partners who have joined us today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are at a turning point of history. Events are moving faster than we can imagine. And it is not only a question of how to survive, but it's a question how to maintain our bodies. It's a question how to maintain our dignity and honor by moving forward with a sense of purpose and a sense of achievement. Secretary General, as you have just mentioned, the Foreign Minister, you so aptly described. At that time, at the heart of the perfect storm of problems lies this prolonged exposure to a monsoon on steroids. In a matter of 2 months, the ground beneath us was literally, physically taken away. The tsunami, the most devastating floods, affected 33 million people of Pakistan, killed more than 1,700 people, including children, and dislocated 8 million people. More than 8,000 kilometers of roads were washed away, and more than 3,000 affected 33 rail system was deeply damaged. Education was disrupted for 2.6 million students, including 1 million girls. One can go on about the records broken by this disaster, but truly speaking, we are racing against time. We are very grateful to the generous support extended to my country by the United Nations, the World Bank, the Asian Development Bank, the IMF, the AIIB, and the European Union, as well as many friendly countries around the globe. However, relief work is yet not over, especially in parts of Sindh and Balochistan. Our young and able Foreign Minister belongs to the province of Sindh, where the flood water still needs to be drained to reclaim the agricultural land, to grow food, to build homes, reconstruct infrastructure, and rehabilitate institutions and services. Excellencies, you will appreciate that we need to give 33 million people who are deeply affected by the floods their future back. Their families must stand on their feet, and they must come back in life and earn their livelihood. Today's convening is an attempt to give my people another chance at getting back on their feet. Last October, in collaboration with our development partners, we prepared a post-disaster needs assessment, PDNA, that calculated the total destruction and economic losses from the floods to exceed $30 billion, which is 8% of Pakistan's GDP, pushing 9 million people into abject poverty. Excellencies, the Pakistani nation, as well as the state, has responded courageously to this catastrophe. Those who had little came forward to help those who had lost everything. Millions volunteered to feed, clothe, and shelter their unfortunate brothers and sisters. 20,000 troops, hundreds of helicopters, aircrafts, and motorboats were mobilized for round-the-clock rescue operations. And in that, I count those wonderful contributions from our friendly countries in the Middle East, in Europe, Far East, and from other parts of the world. They saved thousands of lives and quickly restored disrupted communications. All resilience funds were repurposed to provide cash grants of over $400 million to more than 2.7 million households. Despite our acute financial constraints, we mobilized around $575 million for the emergency, including the UN flash appeal. Excellencies, the one lesson we have learned is that nothing can go back to business as usual. Tough choices will continue to be made, and I'm painfully aware that a taxonomy of harder and harsher reforms will make lives in the Pakistani streets and villages harsher than ever before. But the scale of the resource gap for funding crisis recovery is so wide that it has redefined how we think about resilience. Frankly, it has changed life forever. Building on the post-disaster needs assessment, my government has prepared a comprehensive framework plan for recovery, rehabilitation, and reconstruction with resilience. Its broad contours are set out in the 4RF document that will be presented to you in the next session of the conference. The first part of the 4RF plan reflects the priorities for recovery and reconstruction, bearing in mind the minimum funding requirement of $16.3 billion, half of which is proposed to be met from domestic resources and the other half from our own development partners and friends. The second part of the framework plan incorporates flood resilience in the design and infrastructure projects, such as protecting key highways, the main railway line network, as well as an early warning system and capacity building for rescue and relief in future disasters. Our funding gap for minimum recovery is $8 billion and will be needed over the span of the next 3 years. Excellencies, it is clear that Pakistan's ability to recover from the colossal flood disaster, to restore critical infrastructure and revive rapid economic growth will hinge substantially on the speed of these actions. And the most important link in this chain will be financial resourcing. If that gap continues to obstruct our recovery and minimum resilience needs, the results may be too catastrophic to imagine. This conference is not just about helping to rebuild the lives and livelihoods of the people affected by global crisis. In fact, it is about the solidarity and vision needed to ensure the world's transition to a sustainable future, not just on paper or PowerPoint, but on the ground, in schools, in the fields, in businesses, in industry and homes. Even as we plan for a future of resilience, the shocks that disaster bring can never be wholly accounted for, but resilient societies look for the light of opportunity in the darkness of disaster. It is precisely this kind of strategic reset that I'm trying to kickstart today in seeking your support for a recovery plan for the people of Pakistan who are, by the grace of God, very resilient. I know these are times of extreme pressure and economic hardships in many countries, but Pakistan needs a new coalition of the willing, one that can save lives and put them on a path to responsible global citizenship. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm asking of you is more than a rebooting of your compassion for humanitarian relief needs. Today, I am asking for your support for those who have lost their life savings, their homes and livelihoods, those who are sitting under blue sky, facing the harshest of winters and looking forward to your help and support from mankind. I am asking for a sustained international support plan to meet this daunting challenge. I am asking for a new lifeline for people who need to power our economy and re-enter the 21st century with a future that is protected for such extreme risks to human security. Together, we have to rebuild their lives and their dreams. Your solidarity and long-term support to the people of Pakistan at this very critical juncture will make the difference between staying unprepared or facing the future with renewed hope and aspirations. In the end, I thank you once again for your support in this conference today. Your unity of thought and action will always be remembered by the people of Pakistan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for your leadership. I now request Son Excellence Monsieur Emmanuel Macron, Président de la République française, to join us remotely from Paris.
Merci beaucoup et bonjour à toutes et tous, Monsieur le Secrétaire général des Nations Unies, Monsieur le Premier ministre, Shahbaz Sharif, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État et de gouvernement, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Mesdames et Messieurs les ambassadeurs et représentants permanents. Merci d'avoir organisé cette conférence et de me permettre de prendre la parole devant vous pour témoigner le soutien de la France au Pakistan. Nous l'avons fait dès l'été dernier, lorsque le pire est arrivé, et je veux, après les images que nous avons vues, après les mots que vous avez eus, Monsieur le Premier ministre, et les témoignages du secrétaire général, dire la grande estime, l'admiration et la solidarité du peuple français à l'égard du peuple pakistanais. Votre peuple, votre gouvernement se sont mobilisés.
Allowing me to take the floor before you to bear testimony to French support for Pakistan. Last summer, the worst happened. We saw this in the images that were presented. We heard this in the testimony of the Secretary General and the Prime Minister. The great esteem and respect of the French people has been won by the people and government of Pakistan when they were mobilized with great strength and courage after they saw and suffered the direct impact of climate change. I'd like to hail the World Bank, the UNDP, the United Nations, the Asian Bank for Development, and the 4RF, a high-quality matrix, a framework for deploying efforts for recovery with assistance from the international community in Pakistan. Secretary General, Prime Minister, you have laid out very clearly the impact of these floods on the population, infrastructure, on the economy, on homes, and the need that we see to help rebuild and handle the consequences on an international level. It is urgent, and it has been urgent since the first day. France has sent equipment and personnel to help people affected on the ground. 14 million euros was mobilized by the United Nations. A dozen countries across the world were mobilized to this end. However, 30% of the appeal launched by the United Nations has been met, and only 30%. Many needs remain, notably in the area of food, notably as temperatures fall during the winter season. France is meeting its responsibility with bringing a new contribution of 10 million for urgent aid in healthcare. The World Fund for fighting AIDS, malaria, and other diseases. France has supported this with another $10 million to bring to the people of Pakistan urgent material and need to meet their medical needs and continue treatment. Another component is resilience, ensuring that the country has the ability to meet its needs. These problems will not vanish in the short term when a country is exposed to such a great shock. All of the institutions, financial institutions, must be able to mobilize to support more resilient recovery. As concerns France, adaptation to climate change is at the heart of our development policies, and 2 billion euros will be allocated by us each year in line with our international obligations, which the Secretary General reiterated just now. In Pakistan, we have decided to mobilize more than 300 million euros of projects that will be launched to meet the challenges of resilient reconstruction and therefore climate adaptation also. Finally, there is the goal to draw all of the necessary conclusions from what has happened and to accompany the authorities in Pakistan to conduct appropriate reforms and to ensure that that recovery and reconstruction is compliant with international financing systems. We saw a few weeks ago in Sharm el-Sheikh, and I'd like to say again, that we support the Bridgetown agenda in France. We discussed this with the Prime Minister of Barbados, and we would like to provide support to Pakistan in the short term in its negotiations with the financial institutions, the multilateral bodies, but more broadly also for Pakistan and for all countries in similar situations beyond the funds that were decided on loss and damage in Sharm el-Sheikh. We want to build greater bonds between the North and South with the goal of laying the foundation for World Bank-based reconstruction involving the IMF, also reforming international financial regulations in order to adapt internationally on the financial level to climate change. With the UAE also, and at the G7 and the G20, we want to ensure this is on the agenda also. So these are the three key components that I wanted to mention at this conference, and I'd like to underscore that France is a member of the international group of countries supporting Pakistan, implementing international assistance, conducting reforms, and over the coming months, we will, on a daily basis and for the long term, be providing the expertise, the financial support that you need. We will be shoulder to shoulder with the people of Pakistan and also learning from what has happened and adapting for the future. Prime Minister, on a personal level, I would like to offer our full support, and I would like to ask you that you can transfer to the people of Pakistan the support of France and the French people. Thank you.
Selamlıyorum. Değerli kardeşim Başbakan Sayın Shahbaz Sharif'e ve Birleşmiş Milletler Genel Sekreteri Sayın Guterres'e nazik davetleri için teşekkür ediyorum. Geçtiğimiz aylarda yaşanan sel felaketleri nedeniyle Pakistanlı kardeşlerimize bir kez daha geçmiş olsun dileklerimi iletiyorum. Hayatını kaybedenlere Allah'tan rahmet, yakınlarına sabrı cemil, yaralılara acil şifalar niyaz ediyorum. Türkiye olarak tarih boyunca hep olduğu gibi bu zor gününde de Pakistan halkını yalnız bırakmadık. 15 uçak ve 13 trenle gönderdiğimiz 7.500 tondan fazla insani yardım malzemesi.
Sisters in Pakistan due to the flood disasters in the past months. I wish Allah's mercy on those who lost their lives and patience for their relatives. I wish a speed recovery to the injured. In Turkey, we have stood by the people of Pakistan during their difficult days, as we have always done throughout history. We delivered more than 7,500 tons of humanitarian aid, which we sent on 15 planes and 13 trains. In addition, we shared the products we obtained locally with the disaster victims. We also sent 2 ships bearing more than 1,630 tons of humanitarian aid. I believe that with the arrival of these vessels at their ports, the troubles of our Pakistani brothers and sisters will, to some degree, be alleviated. Immediately after the floods, our Interior and Environment Ministers visited Pakistan, along with representatives of Turkey and Afad. Our delegation conducted inspections in the disaster areas and received briefings from the Pakistani authorities. Intense efforts were conducted to meet the needs that were identified and bring the issue to the attention of the international community. With the efforts of Turkey, as well as other countries and international organizations, we see that the people of Pakistan are now beginning to recover from their suffering. However, it remains clear that more collaboration and cooperation is needed in the face of the devastating effects of the climate crisis. Climate change and the challenges it produces are a common concern of all humanity. The disaster in Pakistan once again demonstrates what devastation climate change can cause. The struggle against these and similar disasters must be continued in solidarity with the framework of our chosen strategy. Turkey fulfilled its responsibilities in terms of contributing to this global struggle. In addition to the disaster areas, reconstruction of all disaster-prone locations in Pakistan in a climate-resilient way can avert additional suffering. Turkey stands ready now to contribute to meeting the immediate needs of disaster victims in Pakistan, as well as supporting the reconstruction process. In this context, Turkey continues to remain in contact with the Pakistani authorities. Afad and Turkish NGOs are also showing the necessary sensitivity in delivering humanitarian aid. I believe that our Pakistani brothers and sisters, who have faced many difficulties throughout history, will, inshallah, easily overcome this period of trouble. Turkey will continue to stand by the brotherly Pakistani people in the coming period, as we have done in the past. May Allah keep our Pakistani brothers and sisters safe from all future disasters and calamities. Finally, I hope that the conference will increase global support for Pakistan. I would like finally to thank everyone who helped put together the program, and I greet you once again with affection.
पाकिस्तान में सैलाब मुतासरीन जिनेवा कॉन्फ्रेंस वज़ीर ख़ारिजा बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी जिनेवा में इफ्तिताही सेशन से सबसे पहले वज़ीर ख़ारिजा बिलावल भुट्टो ज़रदारी ने खिताब किया। उसके बाद सेक्रेटरी जनरल एंटोनियो गुटेरेस ने खिताब किया और
Secretary General Guterres, ladies and gentlemen. The catastrophic floods that hit Pakistan last year caused unimaginable damage. Norway and many other countries contributed to the immediate response, but the needs remain enormous. We must do more to find collective solutions to the foremost challenge of our times, climate change. In following up the decisions taken in Sharm el-Sheikh, we will maintain our direct support to Pakistan in the period ahead and focus our attention on helping those whose lives have been devastated by climate change. This is an endeavor for the entire international community, and you can count on Norway taking its part. Thank you and good luck. In following up the decisions
There will now be a video statement by Her Excellency Ms. Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission.
fellow leaders, dear Prime Minister Sharif, dear Secretary General Guterres, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Prime Minister Sharif and Secretary General Antonio Guterres for this timely conference. 2022 was a difficult year for the world. We just overcame the pandemic, and Russia started its brutal invasion against Ukraine. But on top of this, Pakistan was hit by one of the biggest natural disasters anywhere. Deadly flooding, which affected millions of people. It destroyed livelihoods, crops and infrastructure, and put pressure on the most vulnerable people. The European Union, together with its member states, was among the first to react. Our Team Europe response to this tragedy was immediate and substantial. But the scale of the devastation is enormous. Vast surfaces of cropland and villages remained underwater for months. Nearly 10 million girls and boys remain in need of immediate support, according to UNICEF. So more support is needed. And today we are endorsing an ambitious reconstruction plan. We are joining forces with our partners to help put Pakistan on its path to recovery. Our Team Europe support to the reconstruction of Pakistan is around 500 million euro, including our humanitarian assistance. And the EU and Pakistan have just agreed an 87 million euro package in line with our Global Gateway strategy. In parallel to keep supporting the affected communities, the European Union is stepping up its humanitarian assistance with an additional 10 million euros. This brings Team Europe's humanitarian support for Pakistan to 172 million euros. Ladies and gentlemen, the future of Pakistan is in the hands of its people. I wish the government of Pakistan every success with the implementation of its ambitious reform plan. We will continue to assist, including through the support group to be created following this conference. I wish you a very fruitful discussion. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, the future of Pakistan is in...
I now request His Excellency Mr. Ignacio Cassis, Federal Councillor, Head of the Federal Department of Foreign Affairs of Switzerland, to give his statement. Sir.
Monsieur le Secrétaire Général, Monsieur le Premier ministre, Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, l'ami apparaît dans les moments difficiles, pas dans les grands dîners. C'est ce qui dit un proverbe pakistanais. Bienvenue en Suisse. Aujourd'hui, je vous accueille car nous, les amis du Pakistan, sommes réunis pour faire face à une situation difficile. Il s'agit de...
Prime Minister, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, friends appear in times of hardship, not during great banquets. This is what a Pakistani proverb tells us. So welcome to Switzerland. Today, I welcome you because we, the friends of Pakistan, will face this difficult situation together. The issue of the day is to support Pakistan, which has suffered the full effects last summer of the devastating impact of climate change. This is an urgent situation, and therefore we must act together in an effective manner in the spirit of solidarity. Switzerland stands shoulder